Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 956 of our daily content grind, and it's one of those lovely times where we have a brand new leak list to talk about, and this one people have been hitting me with since late last night, and when we get to the end of the video, there will be a very obvious reason for that. Or I probably put it in the title because I'm that excited about it, and this is just completely out the window at this point. So you know what? Let's just have fun with this. We're just going to talk about all of the listings. Now, this came originally from someone who claimed to have seen these off of a Chinese ordering list. So we didn't really have full confirmation on it. Since then, JT, one of the most noted leakers in the Transformer community, confirmed that the list is legit. So we know this stuff is on the way and that these are confirmed. Now, keep in mind, these are kind of blunt force translated from the Chinese on the order list, so some of this is a little bit, we've had to do a little bit of imagining to piece some of this together. But for the most part, we think we've got it just about correct. So we're going to begin with some of the ones that are the more obvious, the things that have already been mentioned. We've had these listed before. So there is a confirmation that Velocitron Crasher would be re-released in the main line for people who didn't get a chance the first time. A Voyager RID Skybite confirmed. Rescue Bot's Red Fire Truck, so Heatwave as a Generations Voyager, confirmed. Onyx Prime as a leader that looks like a centaur, so his more animalistic side from the more generated side from his original depictions, as well as all that's confirmed. All of that is confirmed. The one thing that is weird is that it does also confirm that there is a deluxe swindle on the way, but they mention that it can't combine, which is kind of weird because I have been surmising for a while now that this is setting up for a brand new set of Combaticons that can combine the way Menasor can, because we're definitely getting a set of aerial bots that do that. Because if you're going to do primes for the next trilogy, you need a Nexus Prime, which means you need a tank and a helicopter in order to complete that normal combiner. We're not getting that apparently. Or maybe this is like some weird. So this is just a listing. There's no confirmation, but it's weird that it specifically mentions it can't combine. So it might actually be back to being an animated style swindle, which would be great because the original one deteriorates so quickly. But it just adds a weird layer of confusion. It adds a weird bit of confusion to a listing that's already a little bit off. There's one other update from a previous listing that is interesting. So it actually mentions Project Sonic, a collaboration toy that we have not really sure. Now, I don't think it's Sonic the Hedgehog. We're going to make that very clear because they're never that blunt about the code names. The Ninja Turtle crossover was Project Renaissance, which does hint at the Ninja Turtles, but it doesn't directly state that it's the Ninja Turtles. So I don't think Project Sonic is literally Sonic the Hedgehog. But what's interesting about it is that it mentions that it comes in a case of 4 with 2 variations, blue and red. So now we're trying to figure out what can be done in both blue and red and relate to the word Sonic. And then I start thinking things like, I was like, guys literally Googling like maybe light cycles, because light cycles from Tron were really fast, but they don't have any connection to the word Sonic. So now I'm kind of lost. Like, what vehicle out there relates to the word Sonic that is both red and blue and is really well known in pop culture? I'm sure someone out there can piece it together. For me, I don't have as much width and like breadth of pop culture knowledge to really put that one out in the universe. So I'm just super curious about that one now. So, for other listings, we do have a new Studio Series Perceptor listed with a back cassette and Rhino cassette, meaning we are getting Ramhorn and Ratbat for Soundwave and Blaster to play with. I love that those are specifically chosen because of this frame. This frame this piece of animation where Ramhorn is getting bashed by into Ratbat, this literally is like less than a second of frames. So we're talking like 10 frames. But it's in the movie. So this is the multi-pack. Expect that as the backdrop that the figures are packed in. It's a weird way to do it, but you know what? If it gets Ramhorn out, fine. We know that there is an individual releasing for Steeljaw in the 86 core class, so we know we're getting that cassette. I'm still wondering where we are getting, we're still missing a rewind. We're missing a solid color rewind. All we have is the translucent one from Twincast, and I don't foresee them doing a Studio Series 86 Twincast anytime soon, so now I'm really confused about what that one's going to do. Nevertheless, more cassettes is a good thing. More characters released in the 86 line with no translucent plastic is also a very good thing. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot. Now, there's a 2-pack that mentions Black Conehead and Blue Car, and with parentheses, game character. My first thought went to Evac, because it's a blue car that's on like the Transformers ride, which plays like a game. However, that one seemed a little bit far, especially because this is listed as a Target exclusive, which indicates a few different things to me. Like troop builders, for instance, and lazy repaints. Kinda. Which leads me to believe that it's going to be the blue land Decepticon from the Devastation game. It's the only one that makes sense to me. We have not seen the Runabout and Runamuck mold for quite a while. It's not a bad mold, so its disappearance is confusing. But this is one of those that people bring up as like, well, if they're going to do Devastation, this is one of the few things they can do. And you're absolutely right. This is one of the very few things from that game that is completely unique to it. So it looks like they're actually going to be doing it. And I say that because of the black cone head that is also mentioned as part of the 2-pack, because that's a thing that exists in Devastation as well. And you know what? It's a pretty cool looking cone head. They both look pretty good. And you know what? They run these multi-packs back through Target all the time. So if they want to run a second one that's got the gold Runabout and Runamuck, and then another one of the generic Conehead Seekers, by all means, absolutely do that. They got room to do it. I'm kind of looking forward to that one. I don't normally get excited for the troop builders, but like a little bit of love for Transformers Devastation, especially now that Gamer Edition is a thing. I would expect this to be in a like Studio Series Gamer Edition box. That is actually pretty cool. I like that. We have another Amazon set on the way. There's 2-packs that have been confirmed. One of them starts with a repaint of Spinister, which is an odd one to go with, and I was kind of struggling to figure out what exactly do you do with that mold. I don't know who else is there, because it feels like, I'll go ahead and spoil this now, it feels like the purpose of the next 2-packs are going to be to fill in the ranks of both the Mayhem Attack Squad and the Wreckers. So when you say like repainted Spinister, maybe it's Marvel colors, maybe it's, I don't know. It could be something wild. They retooled the toy into Rotor Storm, so maybe you could throw a Beast Wars or a Machine Wars Sandstorm in there. That's me really stretching. You might make a super weird whirl out of it. I don't know. I legitimately, I'm very confused by this one. The other one, the one it's packed in with, also confusing because it's marked as a Twin Twist repaint. Now, Twin Twist does have a repaint they have not used yet. He has another set of Diaclone colors you see on screen now where he uses gray instead of red. Now, that would make him very similar to his previous release. It also is very confusing in that we are still waiting for Top Spin. I'm really hoping that this is a little bit of mold confusion with the listing, and what we're really getting is the blue and red Top Spin to go with the red and blue Twin Twist. Because Hasbro keeps saying they're all about completing sets in this line. I'm still waiting for you to complete a set of 2. So now I'm just kind of like sitting back and just rocking on my heels like, you're telling me we're getting 3 twin twists, but only 1 top spin. Really? We're doing that. At this point, I'm expecting Saltman Z before I get my red and blue top spin. Again, Emma, I get fired up over that one because I love the top spin figure. It's one of my toys of the year it came out. And there's just something about twin twists, even though it's the same mold technically, that just doesn't hit the same way. And I'm really waiting to get some variations and some new colors on the original version of the mold, and it ain't happening, and it's frustrating. So we'll see if that one remains a twin twist, or if it actually means the top spin version is coming out. Not entirely sure. Probably won't know until leakers get their hands on it, or Hasbro really announces it. One or the other, we'll find out. The other 2-pack is interesting again because it starts with Iron Fist. So once again, we're talking Wreckers. This one is marked as a Hound Retool, which that's pretty obvious. Like, that is pretty obvious. Yeah, they share a lot of the same components and actual shapes, so not surprising in the least. It's only surprising in that Hasbro's technically already done kind of a beige take on that Hound mold with Detrius. So I'm kind of curious how different it's going to be. Obviously, like, the blue is going to set it apart. You know, the hits of green are going to set it apart, but still, I feel it's vulnerable to falling into a trap that's going to make it similar. I do hope they do the retooling to make him the full Humvee, and they don't just leave him a Jeep. That's kind of where my hope for the toy is. The next one that's packed in with it is another interesting one because it's marked as Purple Weird Wolf. Weird Wolf, a notable G1 character for never having a repaint, which now we have to start figuring out, well, what purple wolves are out there in Transformers. And you know what? We have Carnac for that. So yeah, if they could do a really heavy retool of the Weird Wolf mold and actually make a Carnac out of it using the inner robot as the basis, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. If you haven't looked it up, I might do an entire video on Carnac once this is confirmed, because Carnac is actually kind of an interesting character. He's a faction switch character long before Dinobot ever did it. He is actually pretty interesting as just a character, and just his characterization is actually kind of fascinating. So you know what? I would be down for this. I would absolutely be down for this. And then we start getting into weird directions. Now Pretender Beasts are on the table. Can I get a Chain Claw? It'd be super random, but it's like Hasbro looks like they're literally doing whatever they want at this point. So you know what? I'm not going to shoot it down. So that's the next set of Amazon exclusives. No surprise. Well, lots of surprise there. What am I talking about? But it's cool that they're see that they're actually doing more for Mayhem Attack Squad and more for Wreckers to fill out both of those teams. We have a leaked listing for a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive set. And this one's kind of surprising because it's Studio Series Jetfire. Or I should say, the Commander Jetfire. It actually lists like Commander or Cybertron Jetfire, which I don't think is accurate. Because it's listed with 2 characters, Darak and Solola. Who is Darak and Solola? They're the characters from Void Rivals, which is that other side of the Energon universe where it's just basically 2 aliens from rival factions that are forced to pal around and keep running into Transformer shenanigans, starting with Jetfire. Jetfire was, remember, the very first Transformers exposure we got to the brand new Energon universe from Skybound. So it does make sense to actually do a multi-pack with them. How big those characters are going to be? Hard to tell, because that Jetfire is a really big toy. I'm not sure how they're going to repaint it. If it's just going to be battle damage, obviously they can make it look more like the colors from the comic book, but they're not that different from, the Sunbow colors they used on the Siege figure. Which makes me really curious how this is going to look. It's not a bad idea, though. It's not a bad idea, because it's a very popular mold. They really want to push the comic book aspect on that. And Hasbro did recently trademark the term Void Rivals for toy releases, which would make this make total sense. So you know what? Okay. I'm good with this. I'm good with this. It sounds like it might be interesting. Here's a really interesting one. This one comes out of absolutely nowhere. As a Pulse exclusive, so maybe a PulseCon item, we're getting a Hearts of Steel figure, which is absolutely mental. Now, I've said before that I really like the designs of the Transformers in Hearts of Steel. People mistake that for me being a train enthusiast. I'm not. You know, in generally, if I'm being honest, I really don't care for trains all that much. But I do love the look of old style locomotives just because they're huge, heavy, intricate machines. They just have a really cool look to them. So the idea that we're getting one as just a straight up toy is kind of awesome to me. The listing does not know whether it is Bumblebee or Optimus Prime. It figures that it's going to be one or the other. I would assume Optimus, you know, but maybe with all the reissues they are doing, and you know, we have more Optimus Primes we know are on the way, that might be overkilling it a little bit. So maybe they go with Bumblebee, because that also makes your Centurion, your you know from the IDW comics. Yeah, that's where my mindset is. I'm banking on it being the Bumblebee. I'm banking on it only because it's multi-use. You know, it seems to make the most sense to me. But still, I can't imagine a figure that would be retooled from. It would have to be a brand new mold. It would have to be a brand new mold. You know, you couldn't do it out of Astro Train, you know, because that's not like Hearts of Steel design. That's not even close. So yeah, that really makes me curious who it's going to end up being. Not only who it's going to be, but like what are they going to do with it? You know, unless they do something crazy on the retooling department. We have 3 more to get through. 3 more to get through, and this is where it gets super exciting for me. It is another Walmart set of exclusives. However, it seems like the theme is Cybertron, which is fantastic to me, because it is always cool for me when I get new Cybertron stuff. But the stuff that it's listing is just chef's kiss. So let's start off with Red Hot Shot. The listing specifically says Red Hot Shot. So at the moment, we're not even sure if that means we're getting the US version of Excellion with the gray that you see here on screen, or if we are getting the Japanese version of red, what they called Red Excellion, which is basically the exact same paint pattern on the Hotshot figure, except they have swapped the blue and the red for red and orange. Everything else about it is basically the same. So now we kind of sit in back and wonder. Now, it's most likely the US version, because that is the more well-known of these releases. It's a more obvious retool, and it's more different visually, than the existing Cybertron Hotshot toy, which we also just got a leak of, but we'll talk about that on the next news roundup. Trust me, it's eating me alive to not talk about it. But today is not the day for it. But this is a really, really exciting thing for me, just because I want to see what else is in this capsule line. Following that, Sideways. Now, I think everyone was expecting that Prowl toy, the brand new animated Prowl mold, to get retooled into Sideways because similar chest. And I'm the one going, that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. Because you don't have the head gimmick. You don't even have a space for how that head works and looks in that mold. So that one's still on the table. That one's still like, I'm not betting on that one. But this is another just like out of nowhere. Like, what do you do? What do you do with it? Like, is there a figure that works for that as a retool? Or are they actually going to do are they actually going to do the override thing and do a brand new mold just for this capsule line, which would be insane. But that said, this is an incredibly popular design. A lot of people love this design. I love this design. And it's one of those toys where I could absolutely see them doing it as like like a deluxe sold as a Voyager, because the transformation's pretty complicated. The paint detail would be pretty complicated. I'm really curious to see how they're going to do it. Super curious to see how they're going to do it. And now we get to the end. So I want to say, this is the reason this list has been getting forwarded to me through DMs and tweets and all kinds of methods ever since late last night. And people have just been like on me because of this one mark on it, this one point. This had me like, I got super excited for this last night, and then I got 4 hours of sleep, and then I woke up, and now I'm talking about it now. The 4 hours of sleep had nothing to do with how excited I am. That's just how it happened today. But the last listing, Cybertron Black Starscream. Oh. Now, the term Black Starscream could indicate that they're just doing their own original color scheme, but let's be honest, when it comes to their Generations toys, they have not done that in a long time. Not in a long time. Not for a legacy version of a character. Oh my god. Oh, this has me so excited. So yes, there is historical precedent for this toy being made. What you're looking at is the San Diego Comic-Con 2006 exclusive Skywarp, done from the Legends version of the mold. So there is reason to make it. I could actually imagine it being released as Black Starscream, because there is such a thing as Cybertron Skywarp already. It's purple and white. It looks terrible it makes a mold look terrible on a mold that's already kind of iffy. But I don't care. As long as it's the black and the purple and the silver, I don't care. They can call it whatever they want at that point. It will be Skywarp. It will absolutely be Skywarp. Oh, it's exciting. Oh my god, is it exciting. When they announced this capsule line on the Pulse fan stream, I better hear a name drop. There is nobody that has been championing this repaint more than me. I have been championing this before we knew a new Cybertron Starscream mold was being made. That's how long I've been at this. I was screaming about this since Galaxy Skycrow. I was screaming about this before Galaxy Skycrow. It's my dream figure. My friend Grimlockamus made me one from the original, and I thank him profusely. If Hasbro actually does one that kind of resembles in this department, with the silver and the purples, and if they hit on all these notes, oh my god, I am going to lose my mind. So that's going to be me, just like sitting back for the next few months, waiting for them to make some kind of announcement, or for something to leak out of a factory, because my god, I might actually be getting my dream figure from a mold that's actually really, really good. So yeah, that might be happening. And yeah, that's where the leaks end. It's a heck of a list. There's a lot on there that's got me salivating. Some of it leave me very confused. But again, just there's some good stuff here. Some really good stuff here. Okay, I'm going to take all this excitement, and I'm going to get to work on another video. So thank you everyone for watching. Please feel free to speculate in the comments below, because that's what the comment section is for. Wild speculation. And I will see you next time.